Welcome to this FeedbackFruits video on how to set up self-assessment of skills as a teacher and how an activity looks like in action. This tool gives space for students to self-assess their skills and optionally receive feedback from you, the teacher. So let's get started. Let's begin by making sure we're in edit mode by clicking on the edit button in the top right. We can change the title and in step 1, add instructions to set expectations with students. Using the Add Items button, you can also include multimedia or a screen recording for further elaboration. In this first step, you can also choose whether this is a group or individual assignment, with any groups being synchronized right from your LMS. Next, in step 2, we can add the criteria for the self-assessments to guide students in the feedback process. It's possible to add rubrics, scale ratings, or comments, as well as using institutional templates, but for now, let's settle for some comment criteria. For more information on the different sorts of criteria, refer to our configuration video. After setting up the feedback criteria, you can set optional deadlines using the date picker. If you've set a deadline, you can click the button next to the date picker to see the consequences of this deadline for students. And with that other button next to it, you can grant extensions to individual students or groups, which will be visible below. It's also possible to add further guidance under the Guiding Students step. In step 3, students' reviews will appear as they come in. You can also set a deadline for students to review their own feedback here, if necessary. Next, it's possible to set grade weightings for different parts of this activity, making sure that everything adds up to 100%. This is also the section to determine whether this activity is graded with percentages or as a pass-fail. You can also use the cross in the top right to remove this grading module altogether. Lastly, the plus icon at the bottom of the activity gives the possibility to add an optional reflection step where you can require written reflections from students on the activity as a whole, with room for extra guidance or instructions. After everything has been set up sufficiently, in the top right of the screen, you can press Save to save this activity, and with the blue button in the bottom left, you can contact our expert support team who are minutes away 24 hours a day on weekdays. Now, once students have made progress with the activity, you can check that out under Overall Student Progress at the top of the activity. Clicking on Statistics per Active Student lets us see individual students' progress. Here, you can see if students have read the instructions, finished the self-assessment, the total number of review comments, and finally, if students have read the feedback they received. The check marks under Read Instructions mean that students have finished this step. The light purple dot means the student has not read the instructions yet. The red dot means the student has missed the deadline for handing in, and under the Finished Self-Assessment header, you can see a check mark for the completion of the self-assessment. Clicking on the headers in each column will change the order, ascending or descending, in which students are displayed. It's also possible to export all the student data into an Excel file. This file contains information concerning review ratings, review comments, and grading. You can download this export by clicking on the Export Analytics button in the Overall Student Progress window. Moving on to step 2, we can read students' self-assessments as they come in and students' progress with the activity. Pressing View All, we are presented first with the rubric, and with the buttons in the top right, we can navigate through each student's self-assessment, optionally upvoting or leaving our comments within these reviews. Click Done in the top right when you're finished, or press the back arrow in the top left to return to the main interface. In step 3, you can check whether students have reviewed their self-assessments in a similar interface. Data on aspects such as time spent on review, average number of comments, and overall progress can also be found in this section. Next, if reflections are enabled, you can review them in step 4 by pressing View All and navigating through each student's reflections as before. And if grading is enabled, you can press Publish Grades to send grades to students and send them through to your LMS gradebook. Note that if the deadlines have not been reached, it will still be possible for students to gain points even after the publishing of grades. And that's it. If you've got any questions, queries, comments, or suggestions, do get in touch with us and see the fruits of your feedback.